I was not gonna get on here and talk about alligator Alcatraz or whatever.
I have a feeling that's a plan you probably should have stuck with there, Bleach Brain Barbie.
But the posts I keep seeing, the TikToks, are so annoying. People who are comparing it to a concentration camp in Germany.
No, they're not. They're calling it alligator Auschwitz, and Auschwitz was in Poland, so they're comparing it to a German concentration camp in Poland.
Like, it's not even close. Do your research.
Why is it that people that tell other people to do their research have never done their research? You can always tell from the lack of citations. They just tell you to Google it or do your own research rather than, giving you the proof that they claim to have. Or in this case, the fact that they're telling us to do our research about a concentration camp that they told us is in Germany when it's actually, in Poland, because the geographical location of the camp would have been the first thing you would have read in any research about the camp. Also, side note, why is your dad just creepily standing in the background? That is your dad, right? It's not your dad, is it?
Do your research, please. And if you didn't, I'm done.
That's it? You're done? Really? That was the best both of your brain cells could come up with? I mean, I wasn't expecting much here, but just like Melania always says, that was really short and disappointing. Maybe Grandpa back there can chime in with all of his decades of wisdom here and save this train wreck for you, though, huh?
You don't even have to do your research, because if you think it's like a concentration camp, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Plain and simple.
I don't know about all that, but after that video ending with that uncomfortably long stare, I will say that plain and simple seems to describe you to a T. This is, however, a very succinct summation of what MAGA is, though, isn't it? Telling people to do their research on a topic you are so unresearched on, you don't even know what fucking country you're talking about, all in an attempt to justify an opinion that's so wrong when it comes time to actually make a point to support it. Your brain short circuits like it's Donald Trump's electric boat and his imagination sinking in shark-infested waters. This wasn't live. You had all the time in the world to come up with anything. You could have wrote something down. Well, you could have talked to texted something down to come up with a plan of what you wanted to say. You could have stopped and started over. You could have plagiarized somebody else's argument. I mean, I'm not saying that anything you were going to do was going to be good, but it could have been a little better. When your whole mental process there made like Elon's rockets and had a failure to launch, instead of doing that, creepy Cletus there in the background said the quiet part out loud, didn't he? He said, don't do your research, because if you believe anything other than what Jack-o'-lantern Jim Jones has told you, you're an idiot. Plain and simple. See, because that's the reality, right? Is that it's a concentration camp, or at the very least, you don't know how it's not a concentration camp, which is why you couldn't articulate it in this masterpiece of short-form content you decided to put on the internet. Because I'm guessing you did actually try looking this up and you couldn't find anything to fit your confirmation bias, which is why when you tried to make a point about it, your brain started acting like a Windows 98 desktop with too many porn tabs open. And you know that if you looked into it anymore, you'd have to admit exactly what it is, because, that's what it is. So you live by the law of rejecting any evidence that's not spoon-fed to you on True Social, and then just call everybody who doesn't join you in your intentional, painfully insufferable stupidity an idiot because they live in reality. I mean, after all, that's the only way you could continue to support a pedophile without coming out and admitting that you're clearly probably one yourself. So let's be very clear. It's a concentration camp. Concentration camp is just any prison camp you send people without giving them due process. Not only that, the conditions are similar to German concentration camps at one point. Hell, it's even worse in some respects, because the German camps had physical walls. They weren't just a tent. There's constant flooding, clouds of mosquitoes. The food, when they get it, is bug infested. The lights are kept on 24/7. It's hot and humid. It is downright torture what they are experiencing. It's so bad they can't even keep guards there. Here's the thing. Germany didn't start with gas chambers and death camps. They started with ghettos and work camps. They started by rounding up the undesirables that were poisoning the blood of the nation. The gypsies, the Jews, the socialists, the LGBTQ community. They demonized these people for years, made them carry their papers. They blamed them for Germany's fall and said to bring Germany back to greatness, these people needed to be controlled and contained, removed. And they demonized them like that for so long so that when they did finally start rounding them up and sending them to camps, fascist fucksticks like you wouldn't only justify it, but you would cheer it on. See, it is a concentration camp, and you're just doing your best to try and not believe it, because your plain and simple little minds will grasp onto anything that makes you feel less subpar and mediocre than you are. And because you're too sad, pathetic, and incompetent to improve yourselves, the only way you can do that is to pretend that people who are better than you in every conceivable way, like these hardworking immigrants, that they somehow deserve the unspeakable treatment that they are currently enduring, and that that's somehow different than what Germany was doing to its undesirables in the 1930s. And of course, y'all are from fucking Florida.